Welcome to RANsquawk CE morning briefing for Friday the 16th of October 2009. Just going through 9:30 now in London. Bit of a recap of the overnight news and where we stand so far in Europe. Being pretty much a case of a high close on Wall Street yesterday, if only marginally. A 0.2 rise in the Nikkei overnight, and European bourses are off to a positive start. We're up around 0.75% so far in the FTSE, CAC and DAX. Seems to be pretty light in terms of actual news flow, more a case of just flows at the moment, as earnings season from the US has been so far so good. We've seen the likes of the big banks, JP Morgan, saw Goldman and Citi yesterday, alongside Intel and also IBM and Google aftermarket. All have beaten expectations, so a bit of optimism so far. Again, we will see the likes of Bank of America and GE pre-market today. Will be one of the key events in the trading session. In turn then, fixed income is lower, Bund's down just over 10 ticks at the moment, and gilt futures in particular down around 50 ticks in early trade this morning, being weighed. Continued there from Paul Fisher, the Bank of England member, who said yesterday that it could potentially, or indicated the BOE could potentially halt or pause on their QE program next month and continue at a later date. Still getting some attention there. In terms of overnight news, a couple pieces out of the US, noting that Fed's Fisher said that do not think Fed buying treasuries was a big help to the economy and glad it will soon be over. Elsewhere, Treasury's Geithner says US recovery is better than expected. And also, the former Fed Chairman Volcker said that enormous amounts of liquidity pumped in the US financial system by the Fed are not inflationary at the moment, but may become so at some point. Elsewhere, out of Europe, noting a Telegraph story saying that German wise men fear credit crunch in 2010. Germany's leading institutes have warned that the pace of economic recovery is unsustainable and the country's banks may face a fresh crisis over the next year as bad debts surface in earnest. As already mentioned, then we have seen the likes of IBM and Google. They did beat estimates after market yesterday. We're keeping a close eye on them when Wall Street opens up. IBM also did boost their forecast for full year 09 EPS. And then looking at the calendar then for this morning, 10 o'clock we'll see the Eurozone trade balance. Midday we'll get the Canadian latest CPI numbers for September. No 130s from the US. It'll be 2 o'clock will be the TICS numbers, followed by industrial production and capacity utilisation at 2:15. We'll then get the October prelim Michigan report just before 3. Again, in terms of the US earnings, we'll be looking out for both GE and Bank of America at around 12 to 1 o'clock London time today.